same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Here where we need ya. Here where we need ya. Yeah, we tease him a lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
We good? All right. Hey, good morning, everyone. If you guys heard the music in the background a minute ago was Welcome Back Harder from the 1970s. So that was our way of welcoming you back to an old space that you're familiar with in a new way today. So we're gonna worship in the great room today. So and Joanne is gonna start us out with the prelude. Thank you, Joanne. All right. Hey, we'll say welcome again. And even though we're worshiping in a new space today, we have the donuts that are back there. Donuts and coffee are in their places, so feel free to help yourself there. The attendance pads are around. I think they're out in the main hallway as you come in. So hopefully you will sign in and let us know you're here. And if you're joining us online this morning, thanks for doing that. We're always looking for ways to enhance that online experience, so your participation is important to us. We'll start out as we always start out, and we'll say, love is God, and all the time. Yeah, so, and again, even new space, but we have the same candles, and we have our same liturgy this morning. So repeat after me. May the Christ in us see the Christ among us. And the next lines. May the Christ in me see the Christ in you. All right, I know we have a few announcements, Sarah. Yeah, you've got a few, and Marshall, you do too. Thanks.
Good morning. How are you guys this morning? Good. I just wanted to let you know that if you have kids in your life, we are taking all of them to Mahoney State Park today at 1 o'clock for a family sledding day, so you're welcome to join us. It is supposed to be warmer, so that's a good thing. I also wanted to quick point out in the back, we had our youth fundraiser on Friday, and there's a little bit of yummy food left over. So if you would like to fill a container, leave us a donation, and we would love to see it all go bye-bye.
Thanks. So my announcement's all about QR codes. The first, if you go by where we signed in, you'll find the little cards about the Human Relations Day offering. It's one of the offerings the United Methodist Church takes worldwide. It's one of those chances where we have a chance to make the difference in people's lives that we have no opportunity to meet. One of the ministries that the United Methodist Church does is in community development and community engagement, ministries that aren't about a church building or worship, but about helping a neighborhood, helping a community, helping an area revitalize itself, meet its needs, all those sorts of things. They're ministries that can't take place if it relies solely on the funds that can be raised from that little community. There's just not enough. And so we as people of faith, we pool our monies together to help make a difference in those places. So if you'd like to be a part of that, please check out the Human Relations Day offering. Also, if you check out the QR code on your bulletin, in there you can find our groups booklet. We've just redone it, but every time you do it, there are things that we need to polish. So would you look it over, the groups that you participate in, to make sure that we have the right contact person and the right names, and in case something has changed since the last time. Thank you.
And I'll remind you of a couple of things too. 2 weeks from today is February 4th, and it's our chili cook-off. So check the information out there. It's 5 to 7 p.m. And I think it'll be in here. It'll be somewhere in the building, but it's a great day to come out and have some great chili. And there's a contest involved with the youth and the adults, and there's all kinds of fun things. There's some trivia and maybe a dad joke or two. So please come out. It'll be a lot of fun. My final announcement is today Marshall is leading us in our second faith experiment about do not judge. And so he's going to have some thoughts on that. But we're always, as a part of the faith experiment, we have some Zoom calls on Monday nights for the next 4 or 5 weeks, one at noon and one at 7 p.m. And so if you want to be a part of the conversation for the next 5 weeks or so about do not judge and how that impacts your life and maybe some practical things to do, we invite you to be a part of that Zoom. The bell choir is here. We're excited about that. So, Betsy, thank you.
wanted to let you know. Am I working? There we go. Okay. Thanks, Brian. Just wanted to let you know that we had to miss the Wednesday when the weather was so bad. And so what the bell ringers are playing today is something that they worked up in one rehearsal. So, yay.
Thank you, guys. So will you join me in our opening prayer? Words are on the screen and in your bulletin. Love, whom I call God, you welcome me into this time of worship and remind me that this world, this place, and this moment belong to you. You welcome me as a traveler on a journey I do not always want or understand. You ask me to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and comfort those who mourn. Oh God, I ask that as I learn and grow and attempt to serve you and others, I will be given the grace to love you and my neighbor in all that I do. Pray that at the end of each day, I can say to those to whom love is a stranger, will have found in me a generous friend. Amen. All right. So we're going to get to sing. The hymn is number 398. We're doing verses 1, 2, and 5. So as you're able, feel free to stand up, and we will sing. Seated. Each week we get a chance to share the things that are good in the community, the things that we want to lift up and highlight, the things that we want to remember to celebrate and just acknowledge. And so who has things that they want to share? Make sure I don't leave out the bell choir. Any things that you want to lift up? Yeah.
Even though my grandson said he would only come to Christmas and Easter services, I got him to come to comedy night, so that was a good thing.
Nice. Yeah, it was nice to meet him. It was nice to meet him. Anything else? Yeah, Betsy.
I had a birthday last week, so now I'm 1 year closer to death. But aren't we all? So now I'm officially older than old. So, yay me.
Thank you for sharing that. We all feel better now. Yeah. Hi, Lauren. We're glad to see you here today.
No, Tilly wanted to stay because there's music, and she heard it, and so she's here. I just wanted to say my key fobs didn't work this morning, so I barely made it to church. And then the Woodruff saved the day and got me new batteries during Sunday school. So I love this place.
Yeah. All right. Hey, anyone else? Good stuff? All right, anything not so good, or just requests for prayer? Yeah.
I got stuck in a snowdrift this week. Had to leave my car overnight, but fortunately the tow service came really early, and away we go. I learned my lesson: do not back down a plowed street.
All right. Yeah. It's been rough out there for some people this week. Yeah.
I know.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm going to hold the microphone. We ordered a snowblower for my son, and I ordered it on the 9th, and it was supposed to come the 12th, and then the 13th, and then the 14th, and then on and on and on. And so he got it finally, and it is broken. And so that was a bad thing. And now we're going to go after church and get him a different one and take back that one. And it probably won't snow. So that'll be bad.
I wish we could all say we've never had an experience like that, unfortunately. Anything else? Just things to remember. There's a number of people that are in hospital and just have health concerns. So as we're praying, I invite you to remember them too. Brian loaned me one of these. I'm sure you guys have one of these in your house somewhere. It's a basic remote control. These have a wonderful feature. They have a pause button. So you can, whatever you're watching, you can just pause. So that's what I'm going to invite us to do for just a few minutes, just to sit and to pause. Whatever's going on in your life, whatever voices and urgent concerns are there, as best as you can, pause them. God, sometimes we need to just pause. We need to hit that button, and whatever is going on in our lives, whatever voices are speaking to us, we just need to be present in the moment with you. And we need to pause and to just be still. And God, we remember that you are God, and we're not. And when we pause, we take time to just be present with you, to remember you, to remember love, so that when we unpause and the journey continues, and all the things come at us again full speed, that we have taken a breath and we've remembered that we are journeying forward with the God of love, with the community of the people that we've chosen to journey with, and that we are moving in a way of love and justice in the world, a way that's welcoming and bringing others to experience this love. Today, as we remember all that is happening in the world, all that is happening inside of us, all that is happening within our families, we remember that this love that we experience and we take forward into the world is free. We didn't worthily receive it. We simply breathe it in as a gift. And we share it freely as a gift. No matter where people are in this world today, across the street or across the sea, we know that they are invited into this love, and that they are invited into experience the community that you have blessed us with. A love that we see most fully in Jesus the Christ, in whose name we pray. Our Father, Lord in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever.
Let me suggest this. We're gonna put on pause the greeting time because that way, when you all wander out, you don't have to go back up. Okay? So, Mary Jo, why don't you come up and read the gospel for us, and then we'll after that, then we'll wander around and talk to each other. Okay?
Today's scripture lesson is Matthew 7, 1 through 5. Do not judge so that you may not be judged, for the judgment you give will be the judgment you get, and the measure you will give will be the measure you get. Why do you seek the speck in your neighbor's eye, but do not notice the log in your own? Or how can you say to your neighbor, let me take the speck out of your eye, while the log is in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your neighbor's eye. Hear what the Spirit of the Lord is saying to the church.
Thanks be to God. Thank you. Thank you. as the bell choir finds their way out here, let's just stand and greet each other, say hello, check out the room. So somebody asked, they weren't quite sure. I think we sent out an email, but you may not all know that this week the heat exchanger, some of you know these things better than I do, the heat exchanger in the furnace unit for the sanctuary cracked. And we thought it had a little hole that we could patch, and then we thought, it's a crack, maybe we can patch that. And finally they got it out and got it back to the shop, and we're just going to get a new one. You know, we were going to do that anyway, but now we're not quite sure. We may be in here for a week. We may be in here until we move downstairs. We'll stay tuned. We'll figure all that out. But it's cold over there. That's why we're not over there at this time. I was thinking as I was trying to think through the sermon, have you ever, when you were caring for somebody else or heard from somebody when they were caring for you, did anybody ever look at you and say, don't cross the street? And then they would say something right after like that, if you cross the street, look both ways. Right? So which is it? I think the same person that gave those directions wrote Matthew 7:1, right? Because it says right there, don't judge. And then it says, because when you do judge, the measure you give will be the measure that you get back. It assumes immediately that what you were just told is not what you're going to do. Right? Now, I don't know, I'm pretty sure that whoever wrote Matthew or Jesus in the day did not understand or describe psychology like we do. Okay? I'm really confident that Jesus or the person who wrote down Matthew understood people and understood people really well. Knowing that you can tell folk not to judge, but they're going to do it, right? We know now that as we as human beings evolve, the part of our brain that formed first is that part that helps us either figure out if we got to run, or if we need to fight, or if we just need to try to hide, right? What is it called? Fight, flight, or freeze. You know, that's the part that formed earliest. And we don't get rid of that. We don't get rid of being able to just have those moments where we just make decisions and we react. Because if something's coming at you and it has a chance to kill you, you don't want to have to sit there and think, all right, is this a good thing? Is this, will I get hurt? You just want to be able to move. It's the other part of our brain that formed later that helps us take those instincts, those reflex reactions, and create some space so that we can be thoughtful about them and maybe suspend them. Some of the things I think we get ingrained into ourselves, they happen from when we're infants on. We're not hardwired, but the environment we grow up in, the family we grow up in, the situation we grow up in, begins to form the connections early on so that we have those immediate reactions. I know there's things that I learned about people who didn't look like me, girls, people who lived in town, all these sorts of things since I was a little kid that this day I sometimes still have to pause and go, okay, it's not right. I might have said that in kindergarten, but I'm not in kindergarten anymore. That might have been how it was when I was growing up, but it's not how it is now. And I have that space. I get to suspend judgment for just a little bit. Now, we can take that, we can run it through psychology, and we can take it and we can run it through manners and just being polite. But why does that matter? Why does it matter to us if being willing to suspend judgment, how does that affect our spiritual life? How does that help us understand ourselves and God's place in our lives better, besides just making us better people? I think it's part of it is this. Jesus, if we think today, and I guess I'm stealing stuff out of the 9 o'clock service, we had a conversation afterward, and somebody suggested that perhaps our culture today is very judgmental. Is that just the 9 o'clock folk? No. Okay, 10:30 folk. Okay. All right. It wasn't any different for Jesus. It was different. But it was also a time of great judgment. You had all sorts of groups of people. Some were saying, if we're going to live our best life, what we have to do is we have to go to the desert and we have to withdraw from everybody else. Others were saying, if we're going to live our best life, then we got to get everybody in the community to start acting the same way. And others would say, none of that's going to happen. We just have to learn to get along with the other people. And everybody had a judgment about one another. And they were in a position where they thought things had gotten so bad that something on a divine scale was going to happen. Not just a little social action, but God was going to come in and make it different. And so if you weren't towing the line, it was my job to let you know, because if I cared about you, I want to make sure that you're on the right side of the judgment when it happens, right? Some of you may have grown up with some preaching like that. That also was Jesus' day. And those kinds of things, you can throw them through whatever television network you want to, and you can hear the same things, the same sermons. They're just not at church. And the opinions people have of each other. So Jesus is saying to us, don't judge. Now, when you do judge, do it gently. Measure, because how you judge somebody else is going to be how you get judged back. The thing about judging, even in those instances where, I can't control it. I can't stop the initial opinion, the initial decision. That if we can create the space in our thinking, if we can create the space in our spirit, then we can have a different attitude, different emotion about what happened. I don't know if you know this, but I have a granddaughter. All right? Surprise, surprise. She's getting kind of fun. You can see that there are times in which something will happen and she goes immediately to mad or sad, or something's wrong. She does not yet have that ability to create the space in there and go, okay, wait a second, this happened. How do I need to feel about it? Right? Because sometimes somebody will shove me, and I don't know if I should be mad or thankful. Because I don't know if they've just been rude or they've saved me from something that was going to be bad. Right? It's that then thinking, creating the space, creating the spiritual moment in it that allows me then to consider how to treat other people differently. I had a job at one time where a lot of us were all trying to learn how to do the same thing. And we had to learn to make this deal with one another. All right? And the deal was this. We had to agree with one another that we were willing to develop an appetite for critique. Right? Now I said critique, I didn't say criticism. Right? There's a difference. If I want to be critical of you, I don't care who you are. I'm just critical. I just tell you what I think, walk away. If I want to critique you, then I have to do these things. I have to be willing to take you as you are, all of you, with an idea of, how your family's doing, how you're feeling, how things are going today, all of that. And as whatever we're doing together, and lots of times it was me or one of us standing up trying to give a presentation about something, and then having somebody else look and go, that was really good. Or, when you said it this way, it didn't help me understand any better. Or my mother, I'm pretty sure my mother loves me, most days. She'll watch me give a sermon and she'll go, do you know that you said 17 times? Because it's one of those, because she just hears it, and she knows that it can be disturbing for somebody else. So she wants me to be able to speak in a way other people can hear, not just playing gotcha. As people of faith, we have to be willing, if we're going to judge anything about someone else, we've got to see whatever's happened as a part of a greater whole and not the sum total of who they are. If we're going to do that, we have to admit to ourselves that lots of times the thing that most annoys me about somebody else and that I want to judge is something that I do myself. Any of you get really annoyed when you're talking to somebody and they're playing on their phone? Might have done it, Or somebody who's listening to you and you could tell they're working on their computer or they're doing something else, but they're not there on the phone with you. And I want to be critical, but I have to be willing to be open myself. Do not judge. Do not worry about the speck in somebody else's eye when you got a log in yours. It's kind of a brutal metaphor to help us understand that, okay, give some space. So, starting tomorrow, Chris is taking the first day. I'll join in on other days. He's going to help with the conversations at noon and at 7. And what we've got is a few videos that help us begin to think about, okay, how is it that I go about making judgments? How does that affect me? What does that do? We won't do all of that the first day, but we'll have that conversation. And then for the next four weeks or so, we're going to continue to have those conversations. We're going to continue on Sundays to have a piece of it brought in. And then 4 or 5 weeks down the road, then I'll stand back up here and give another sermon about, okay, as I listened, this is the experience we had. What will it be like for us to just step back and examine how judging affects our spiritual life and how taking it seriously in a different way helps us either to become closer to that which is divine in our life, closer to one another, more forgiving, more hopeful, more resilient, able to hear the things on the news and not have to go straight to the ice cream bucket, or swear, or however you guys handle it. Those are the options at our house. Because how we do that, it shapes and it helps us to grow, and it'll either make it smaller and tighter and atrophy our souls, or it'll help us expand. Okay? Amen. That's what we're going to do. We've got one more hymn, right? We're going to sing, and then we'll come back and we'll add to that, or we'll pull it apart. We'll figure out how to do it. All right? What are we? Somebody who has a bulletin, tell me what we're singing. 3, 4, 4? All right. What's that? 1 and 2. Verses 1 and 2.
Do the English.
Oh, yeah. If you can sing in Spanish, go for it, but try the English first. Anything to add? Any questions to ask? Anything to fix? You're not fixing it, but in this political scene, it's very, very hard. Yeah? Yeah. You know what I found, though? Even those people I most disagree with, they got grandkids, too, they love. Yeah, I think they do. I think they do. Yeah. You know? Anything else? Here, let me bring you Mike, Larry. Chris is getting you Mike.
You know, we're kind of brought up to be judgmental. Our whole society, we have a legal system that's very judgmental. And when somebody shoots somebody, I don't like that guy or person. And but like you say, you have to understand the background, how this person was brought up, what kind of conditions he's lived in, and what causes that person to do what he did.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that there aren't rules and there aren't laws and all those sorts of things, but it is about a person's worth. You know, and it's my spirit has never grown when I've been worried about telling other people how they ought to be. My spirit has only grown when I was willing to think about who I am and what I want to be. Then I can. But if I'm worried about you, I got my eyes in the wrong place. Well, when you guys stand up, for some of you, when you stand, your thinkers start working again. I don't know how that is, and you'll have questions afterwards. So let's say the benediction, and then we'll sing our last song and listen to the postlude. The benediction's on the screen. Now, let us go in peace to live a faith that matters, to grow in the love of God, and to serve wherever we are led. Amen.